Welcome to Beyond Titles, Who You Are Matters. It's so important. And today, I'm so excited for our second episode. We are going to be interviewing one of our newer members. Last episode, we interviewed one of our longest running members, and I'm really excited to have Peter Triolo here. And I'm so excited because he is one of our really special members. He's just dived right in from the day he met all of us, has become part of the family. And Peter, I'm so happy to have you here today. So thank you for giving us your time.
Oh, of course. Thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to this conversation, Lynn.
Terrific. Okay, so as you know, we're going to ask you a few unusual questions so that the audience really gets to know who you are as a person. Okay,
Awesome.
so feel free to pause and think in any moment that you might need, and we're going to dive right in. Are the three words others use to describe you the same as the ones you would use to describe yourself?
Well, that's a good question right off the jump. I would say yes. Generally speaking, the words that others would describe me as are words that I would also describe myself as. I find a lot of great pride in taking a step back sometimes and looking at what are my core values and or am I portraying them into the world as I want them to be. And I tend to think it kind of goes back and forth too. It's like I'm viewing others making sure that they're also viewing me how I want to kind of be viewed as well. But there are kind of a few words that I kind of rally back to make sure that I'm kind of honing in all of that at the same time. And a few of them I would say are caring. I definitely am a very caring person. Whether you're in my close knit circle or even external, I like to go, all in, make sure everyone's feeling included, because I think that just goes a long way at the end of the day. And everyone wants to feel included also. I think discipline is also a pretty important one, and it's just a general core value of what I like to bring to the table, both professionally and personally. I'm definitely a structure of habit. I have a sports background. I played lacrosse growing up. I played in college. It's definitely a big part of who I am. And I think it's kind of been like an anchor point throughout my entire life. So even from a personal perspective to then, my professional career, kind of having that structure was always helpful for someone like me. Um, and then responsibility, just making sure you're kind of keeping yourself accountable, keeping the people that are closest in your life accountable, and then of course that kind of rallies into the professional world as well. So
Wow.
hope that helped answer the question.
There are no right or wrong answers because it's about who you are. And that definitely matters. And it matters to me. So thank you for answering that. What wouldn't be like it is today if you had not been a part of it? And what value did you add?
Oh, okay. Thinking. See, this is how I kind of analyze a question like this. I feel a lot of people would answer this from a business perspective, but I'm going to go 180 and I'm going to answer it from a personal perspective. And I
Love
knew
it.
you'd want that one. But it actually happened recently in my life too. So I think it's just kind of top of mind as well. So
Wow.
one of my best friends from growing up, played sports with him my entire life, always a generally athletic kid. Lived with him when I was still living in New York City. He decided he wanted to kind of commit to a new challenge in his life. And he viewed, I'll keep his name kind of out of the conversation, but he kind of viewed what his friends were doing at the time. And he saw that I was an avid runner. I still am an avid runner. Um, he saw and decided he wanted to run the New York City Marathon. And it was kind of a goal that he always had in the back of his head. But, so many things kind of come up in life and you're juggling work, you're juggling your personal life. And it was something that he maybe never really fully like locked in and committed to. But after having a few conversations, he ended up kind of diving in head first. And he trained for over 20 weeks, not just wanting to complete it, but he wanted to perform extremely well. And looking back after all of it, being able to just be a voice for any questions he had, or even going on some runs with him when I was living up in New York at the time. I'm fairly recent to the South Florida area, so um, it was just so eye-opening to see how passionate he was about it. And it was so awesome just to see how enthusiastic he was. And to kind of put a bow on all of it, I get like choked up talking about it, but I unfortunately was not able to be there for race day when he was kind of doing his thing. But I was texting him the night before, just being like, hey, buddy, like, good luck. I know you're going to crush it. Like, you worked so hard to get to this moment. Like, doesn't matter what happens tomorrow. Like, what you put in leading up to this is everything that comes along with the experience. And you should be really proud of that. And his response was just so, I'm going to use emotional just for a lack of a better word, but it made me choke up because he was just diving into how, inspired he was with seeing me kind of go through that. And it really kind of like allowed him to accept a new challenge and get through that. And he just thanked me for kind of, bringing this into his life. And he's now gotten to the point where he's now looking into his next challenge too. So it's just kind of like it was a beautiful moment that I had in my personal life where one of my best friends and I went through a really cool experience. And, that's what it's all about at the end of the day. It's just the people who you're kind of, closest around, and just making the most of all of it too. So yeah, it was pretty cool to see it all come together.
It's so nice to hear you really just have a current experience that can really answer this question,
Yeah,
because that's not always the case for everybody. So thank you for sharing that.
yeah.
I
And I hope
appreciate that.
my buddy's listening too, because it's something that I mean, I don't take it lightly. Like the text I should like verbatim read it out, but I'll hold back from it. But it was really nice.
It touched your heart, and I guarantee it's going to touch a lot of other people, because just listening to the story, I know it touched my heart. So thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
Okay, so what's one thing about you that doesn't change no
Okay.
matter what changes around you? And why do you feel that that's important?
Oh, this is a good one. This definitely goes back to how I answered earlier with taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture. Growing up, I was always kind of very go, 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 would get anxious here and there around what's going on. I wouldn't call myself a nervous Nelly, but I was very like, need to be there on time, need to even be early. If you're not, early, you're late. Not that that's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing, but it brings me then back to how I ground myself at the end of the day. And the overarching statement is control the controllables. And what's encompassed by that, it's two things. It's your attitude, how you go about your day, how you view things, and the second thing is your effort. And at the end of the day, those are the two things that you can only control. Everything else, the cards are going to fall how they're going to fall. But how you view it and how you go about your business and work, that's what matters at the end of it. And if you view it that way, I tend to think, if you're giving everything you can, you're going to gain in return. So it's kind of this nice symbiotic relationship at the end of it.
Okay, so I'm going to poke a little bit more at this question.
Okay.
So when you're sharing that, it's how you view it, and how you react to it is really how you have the control. And I'm guessing you're saying it's your reaction. That's the one thing that doesn't change
Mm-hmm.
about you. Could you elaborate a little bit on that? Because every person is different. We could say that that's the thing that every one of us should really focus on, always having the same, the way we choose to react to those things that happen and change around us. What is exclusive to you? One thing that doesn't change about you, Peter, that doesn't change as things around you change.
Okay. I like it. Yeah, I mean, to what you were saying earlier, I think how people view things, of course, everyone's going to view it differently, and that's 1000% okay. I think having those diversified views on things just makes everyone's relationship with your closest friends or even external people that much better. To go back to me, what really just brings me back is having that glass half full mentality. It's no matter what's going on in life, like there's going to be bad things that happen. It's inevitable. But what can you find the good in what's going on and be thankful for it at the end of the day? So having that gratitude, having that glass half full mentality, I feel goes the longest of ways. Everyone's job is absolutely crazy. Everyone's personal life, there's always going to be things that comes up. But finding the good in each little piece of all of it is what I feel kind of brings it all together at the end of it.
Thank you for digging a little bit deeper on that.
Of
I
course.
feel like I got a little bit more of you in that description, so thank you.
No, I mean it's a helpful question for me even too. It's like sometimes you don't take the amount of time you probably should I keep using the phrase take a step back, but like take a look in the mirror, like understand what's going on in that crazy head of yours and how think about how you view things versus maybe how someone else will view it. And I just think it makes you a well-rounded person at the end of the day.
Thank you for that. What's the most important thing that you want someone to know about you when you meet them for the first time?
When they meet me for the first time. Thank you for giving me a sec to think here. I think the most important thing for me, at least, I think it's just my general optimistic attitude towards things. I know I just mentioned the glass half full approach to it, but I really do think that like just having a smile on your face, being a nice person, that's what goes the longest of ways. If it's personally, of course you're going to get along with them better if you're having, that more optimistic attitude towards things and you're engaging in the conversation and you're actively listening and really wanting to get to know the person. And then that also rallies into the professional world as well. Like no one necessarily wants to do business with someone who's just very strict, X's and O's, doesn't have any kind of color. I think it's important to really like bring out who you are as a person to both sides of the landscape there.
No, I think that's important. So what you're saying is you really want someone to know right out of the gate that Peter is a positive person,
Yeah,
and that's what you're going to bring to the conversation.
100%. Yeah, I definitely, I will say, I drink a good amount of coffee to make sure I'm backing up that optimistic attitude and smile. But I also do just bring a lot of energy organically as well.
And obviously, you have a sense of humor, so we appreciate that as well. Who inspires you to be the best that you can be and why?
Okay, I love this question. And I do think it's an easy answer for someone like myself. I would for sure say my fiance, Ashley. She is my biggest cheerleader. She is my absolute anchor. If you're watching this, Ashley, I love you so much. I'm so thankful for everything. Um, but I just think like having that, support system is extremely important, just personally, professionally, having someone to go to talk to about anything is I just think an unbelievable thing. And Ashley's definitely that person for me. She pushes me to be my best possible self. She knows exactly who I am. And I sometimes, I'm not going to say take it for granted, but like I just always like to make sure that she knows how appreciative I am of her.
Wow. I'm sure there's a lot of people listening right now that say, wow, I wish I had that. I know there was a time in my life that I said that to myself. So thank you. What
Of
beautiful
course.
sentiments She's a lucky girl. She's a
I was
lucky
going to say
girl.
the next answer was going to be our puppy Hudson because he's just absolutely adorable, and I mean he's the best inspiration, of course, at all. But yeah, Ashley's got to take the top notch gold position in that.
What are you most passionate about, and how does that connect to what you do?
Awesome, I love it. I think building genuine relationships is a big piece of that. I mean, that was one of the main reasons why I was so inspired to join IPP. Seeing how close knit the group was, seeing how you see it beyond titles, it's truly that at the end of the day. Like whether I was in financial services or I was a plumber or I was any profession, it didn't matter because that's not how we view one another. We view one another for who Lynn is and for who Peter is. And that really mattered for me. Um, so I'm extremely grateful for the past couple months that I've had being a part of the IPP family. Um, but yeah, building genuine relationships would definitely be kind of that top-notch position for myself. And I think that just goes into what I do professionally as well. Just being in the financial services industry, of course, you're working with a lot of different people, and it's psychological conversations just as much as it's, handling retirement planning or whatever it may be. Um, but every single conversation is different, and that is such a beautiful thing about it.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
It's always, in my mind, so important to be able to convey the things that you feel so strongly about that really are your personal why to what you do. And so to hear you have such energy around how you're connecting with people, regardless of where it is really a powerful thing. So good job. Good job. What would you say if you were introducing yourself as if you were your best referral?
Ooh, okay. I like this. It's kind of this is an interesting question. So if I was introducing myself, what I would say is Peter and the firm he works for, the Bridge Group, is not only extremely qualified, we are top notch in the industry. We care extremely about customer service and the relationships that we have. We want to make sure we have those genuine connections, like I said. But you're also just getting a really good person to work with. And I think that goes a long way. I mentioned it probably a few questions ago now, but people want to do business with good people. And that's really all that matters at the end of it. Um, and I take a lot of great pride in bringing that to my professional world because I feel like a lot of people sometimes, for lack of a better phrase, like put on a mask just to make sure that they're getting across the finish line in whatever they're trying to do. Yeah, that could get you to where you want to go, but you're probably not going to like it. And you're not going to make it very far just because I don't think you'll be as passionate about it. So I think just making sure that you're taking that passion to every conversation to build that relationship, I think is really important.
It, you have shared so many valuable things today, Peter, and I want to say thank you so much for your time. Uh, I know you've mentioned a few things about Inner Power Partners already. If I could just ask you to just share why you feel it would be important for people to have an experience, at least one, with an Inner Power Partners group.
Oh, I love this. This is a good bow to the entire conversation. I definitely think people should come check it out. Who you are matters. You see it right there on the screen. And I think more people just need to, again, take that step back and think about who they are as a person, what they want, both personally and professionally. And these are all things that we bring to our conversations. Having those thought provoking questions, building genuine relationships. That's really what life is about, in my opinion, at the end of it. So that's what IPP is about also. And that's why I'm extremely proud to say that I am a member of IPP. I will always continue to be a member of IPP. Um, and it's amazing to see how fast the groups are growing. And I love, and what my next kind of chapter step is with IPP is I want to start exploring additional groups just because I live in Boca Raton. Of course, I attend the Boca Raton meetings, but I want to make sure I get up to Boynton or with Wellington that's starting up, like maybe try getting over there too to meet like-minded individuals who are just curious and wanting to build genuine relationships. Yeah.
Well, that's definitely a great recap of what we're about, and just the fact that you're expressing that you want to take advantage of being able to not stay in that one space, but branch out and expand your reach, because you know you can take it to the next level. I
Yeah.
appreciate that immensely.
And I owe
It's
you a massive thank you also, Lynn. I mean, what you're doing and what you're helping to build is absolutely incredible. It's a movement. It's a lot bigger than just a name. And again, I'm just extremely proud and grateful to be a part of it.
Thank you so much for that. You're welcome. You're welcome. In all reality, I can honestly say I'm just being me. I really couldn't give you a blueprint of how this all came to be. It kind of happened on its own, and throughout the entire thing, I really just keep being me. So if there is something about me that is benefiting others, then I just feel it's my duty to continue being me and moving it forward. When other people are investing in me, I'm 1,000% invested in them. And you were definitely someone that I was so excited to get to meet. And we first met on the phone. So just goes to show you, now we're taking it to the next level very soon afterwards. You've also been a great help volunteering to help me with certain things in the organization, and it's very much appreciated. Uh, so, with that, I'm just going to say to our viewers, if you want to know a little bit more about Peter, Peter's going to let you know how you can get in touch with him.
Thank you. I appreciate. I wasn't expecting that. Um, but yes, thanks again. I hope everyone enjoyed the show so far. I hope I'm a good episode. But like you said, Lynn, name is Peter Triolo. I work with the Bridge Group. We are a family style wealth management firm right here in beautiful Boca Raton. Um, I'll make sure that you can get my contact information just through the IPP website. Check out my profile because you'll not only find my contact info, but you'll find a little bit more about me and just who I am as a person, because I feel like that's important at the end of it too. So thank you again for having me. This has been fantastic.
All right. Well, thank you. And please come back for our next episode. Not sure who our guest will be, but we'll make sure that they matter to you. And we look forward to seeing you again.